Hello and welcome to the 2019 GR Supra GT Cup Series. My name is Tom Brooks. Alongside me, Chaz Draycott for this one. It's time for the Asia region race. It's going to be very, very exciting, this one. Chaz, we've seen a lot of dramatic action. Before we get into it, let's have a look at the point standings as things sit after the 8th round of the series in Asia. So you can see Kazuno Kota leads the way, 8,221 points for him, ahead of Yamado Racing there in second place. He is tied on points with Dojo Racing Apex for that position, though.
Yeah, it's very, very close between these guys, actually. We've seen a couple of the other regions where it's not so close for a couple of them. There'll be a couple of guys like 10, 20 points apart and then a couple of 100-point gap, but those top 5 all being in the 8,000s, that's really, really close. And of course, as we've been saying with a one-make series, this is exactly what we want. And of course, it means that each race carries so much with it as well in terms of the drivers being so close together. Well,
don't forget, of course, that only the top 3 results from these GR Supra Cup races count, which is quite an advantage, really, for the drivers who perhaps can't compete in all of the rounds of the series.
Yeah.
It does make it a little bit more fair for everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, with sim racing like this, everyone has real-life things outside of it that they can't always commit to doing these things, so it's great to see that that rule has been implemented to make sure that it's fair for everyone. And of course, all they need is 3 good races to get the job done. Well,
let's see whether one of those races will be here today, and let's have a look a bit more about where we're going to be racing, because it is this, the Tokyo Expressway circuit, a fictional track on Gran Turismo Sport, a street circuit as well, and it is going to be hugely exciting to see how the drivers will do around here in this one-make series. So, 6.5 kilometres it is. You can see a lot of tight and twisty corners there. Some, though, a little bit more open than others, and then a very, very long straight up towards turn number 11. There are turns in there. You can see turn 8 goes through the tunnel. However, the drivers are completely flat out from turn 6 all the way from the descent onto the climb up to turn 11. You can see there a elevation change of 24 metres for these drivers there as well. That makes things very, very interesting. Let's have a closer look, shall we, at the corners on this track then here, Chaz, because it's a very unique circuit, this Tokyo Expressway South Inner Loop, isn't it? You've got, as we said, an anti-clockwise layout here, which is very unusual to kick off with. Then you've got turns 2, 3, 4 and 5. That's a good overtaking opportunity. Turn 6, this right-hander here, up the straight through. Turn 7, turn 8, turn 9 and 10, all the way to that hairpin of turn 11. The drivers are completely on the throttle, flat out.
Yeah, there's a lot of very fast sections going into very slow sections, and they're always overtaking opportunities for everyone. Turn 11 in the other regions races that we've done so far, we've seen a lot of very decisive manoeuvres in a couple of incidents as well. But one corner that we didn't really expect to see much from is turn 6. It's been so pivotal. There was a couple of drivers in the last one taking a very late apex through there, managing the car on the throttle, getting on the gas as soon as they could on the exit, and it really helped them getting towards turn 11, and it meant that they didn't even have to get the job done on the brakes. They were ahead before they even got there. So that's a very, very important corner to get right for these guys. So if they line it up through turns 2, 3, 4 and 5, they should be pretty set through that part of the track.
Well, let's have a look at the race details then for these drivers to contend with then in the Asia region. Of course, everybody in identical Toyota GR Supra Rd.9 machines. Sport hard tyres for them to compete in. They've already had the qualifying session. We know how the grid lines up. But just 5 laps here as well, with 28 times tyre wear. Now, this is where things get interesting here, Chaz, because of strategy. You can do the full race duration from start to finish on those sports hard tyres. But we have seen some drivers going into the pits, opting for fresher tyres at the end of the race.
Yeah, they just want that extra little advantage that they can have towards the end where possible. Of course, with it just being a straightforward 5-lap race, everyone's going to be looking for that every single thousandth of a second, any type of advantage they can have. We saw a couple of guys that were a bit further down the order trying to do the undercut, as we all know and love it in motorsport, in the previous regions that we've done. And it didn't quite work for them, but in other regions where they did it from the top of the field, a couple of the leaders even diving in early on thinking, well, why would you do that? They didn't still get the race win from it, but they gained a lot of places. So the advantage is definitely there. It's just about how they do it, and obviously making the most of track position is very important as well.
Exactly. Well, you can see the pit loss time there of 7 seconds, plus, of course, the top time. So about 9 seconds in total that you will lose from a pit stop. You've then got to try and gain that back, of course, on track. And the main thing is when you filter back onto the circuit, you don't filter out into traffic. You want to have a nice, clear circuit to be able to set those faster lap times and catch up with the rest of the field if they pit.
Yeah, definitely. And it can depend on who you're around as well. Some guys may not defend because they'll know you're on better tyres. Some of them may defend until the cows come home. You never know. It's such a mixed bag, and that's why we love it, really. A bit of strategy always makes these races a bit more exciting.
Well, it is going to be very exciting. So let's find out, shall we, as we head to the grid. The drivers lined up on the grid. It's Kawakana who is in pole position. Legacy 0193 alongside him. Keep an eye out for the second row of the grid. Kuru Mania and Volti Tatsu ready for the lights to go out then. Here at the Tokyo Expressway, southern inner loop, the revs rise, the lights go out, they drop the clutches, and we get underway. Good equal start from the front row of the grid. Kawakana does manage to hold on to his pole position. The rest of the field slotting in behind as well as they come filtering down towards that left-hander of turn number 1. Look at 13th position there of Struder trying to find his way through up the inside of his fellow competitors, as we ride on board with Volti Tatsu here. He ducks back into the slipstream. The very distinctive livery of Kuru Mania there makes it nice and easy for us commentators to point him out on the circuit. But you can see he's already having a little bit of a look here at Legacy 0193. He pulls alongside his compatriot as they head down towards the harsh braking zone of turn number 2. Is he going to try and take 2 in 1? Is he going to go for the race lead? He certainly is. Kawakana doesn't defend his line. He goes up the inside as Kuru Mania. He's got the race lead. That was an absolutely textbook move there. 2 positions in 1 corner. Now Kuru Mania leads the way.
Fantastic stuff, really committed going into there on the brakes as well. And of course now he's got a great exit with clear air in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about slowing down for anyone in front. And Kawakana now is over half a second behind him already through turn 6. Straight on the power is Kuru Mania. He's absolutely flying with it here. Legacy still in 3rd place with Volti Tatsu in 4th, and it's Dojo Racing Apex in 5th. And we have HQB 39Y in 7th place at the moment, the Chinese driver, just outside the top 6. Poki Corgi is just in front of him, but you can see there's quite a spread already really here actually, Tom. There's a bit more of a spread certainly than we've seen in other regions so far, but you never know, it may bunch back up as the race goes on.
Yeah, still plenty of time. This is really where we would see the field beginning to bunch up as they head down towards that hairpin of turn number 11, because of course that straight is so long and that's where the slipstream is at its most effective. Down in towards that corner we go. You can see a penalty there for one of the drivers in the background as Kawakana just runs it a little bit wide, does manage to gather it up without too much drama. It's the driver in 7th position, the Chinese driver as you were mentioning earlier on there, Jazz. That's HQB 39Y. Nice and easy to roll off the tongue, that one, as he's got a 3-second penalty, as you can see on your screen there at the moment, presumably for hitting the wall. That is one of these features of these street circuits. If you do hit the wall, and it is deemed to give you an advantage because you're not scrubbing off as much speed as you would do, say, running into a gravel trap or running onto the grass, etc., the race direction will hit you with a penalty.
It's great that it does calculate that though as well. It keeps things fair for everybody, because I mean, I know a lot of the time with racing sims and so on, if there's not as much damage from getting it, people will try and do that to take advantage. So it is good that that is part of the series to keep the playing field nice and level. But these guys are starting to bunch back up a little bit now. Kawakana, he's not got it all his own way in 2nd place. 2 seconds back on Kuru Mania though. He's just run away with it. Legacy a bit wide through turn 1, but I think he's doing what we saw earlier actually, Tom, where he's taking late apexes because he knows there's a long straight coming up, so he wants to get the best run off the corner that he can.
Well, that's crucial, isn't it, having that most amount of straight line speed as you possibly can going down these long straights to try and disadvantage the competitor who is behind you. You can see Legacy right in the slipstream there, nearly 3 cars as one as they come over the brow of the hill, get ready to go onto the brakes in towards turn number 2. No moves being made here, all of these drivers being very sensible so far. A little bit of an interesting different take on lines there. You can see Dojo Racing Apex in the background. He went for a tighter line through turns 2 and 3. What do we think that was all about?
Maybe he was just trying to get his nose down the inside, because he knows that some of these guys are going to go a bit late on the apex and then try and get a cutback. But if he's got his nose down the inside, that'll stop them doing that, and it'll make sure that they know he's there. He's going to put them under pressure. He's going to play the mind games, and that's what these shorter races are all about as well. It may not be an endurance event where you've got to sort of try and keep calm throughout the whole thing. These sprint races are frantic and they're fast. So if you can try and mentally bury the driver ahead of you, just get them in a position where they know that they're under pressure, they'll start to crumble. And it depends on obviously who you're attacking, whether they do that or not, but you've got to try every little trick in the book that you can. Kawakana still leading these guys then, with Legacy, Volti Tatsu, Dojo Racing Apex there just at the background. But onto the brakes into turn 11. Look at that race lead though, 4.3 seconds for Kuru Mania now. It's like he's in a different car.
Well, exactly. You were speaking about mentally burying the competitors, and that's exactly what Kuru Mania is doing at the moment. 4.4 seconds. It's increasing corner after corner, almost for the Japanese driver. Now, this is going to be interesting though, because we can see quite clearly he's pushing very hard in these opening stages. Is that going to compromise his tyre life at the end of this one? Maybe he's pushing a bit too hard here, and in the latter stages, that's where we'll see that gap decrease and come down.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I think really if he's going to gain this much of a gap by the end, he may be alright, to be fair. You might have to take it a bit easier on the tyres, but let's face it, if they're still on the car, it's still going to go around the corner, I suppose, isn't it? It's just about how he manages it, but we'll see. Kawakana opening up a little bit of a gap now to Legacy here as we're on board with Volti Tatsu. going down the straight towards turn 1. Real test of your commitment in turn 1 here. But just having a look at the gaps as well, it's very close to all these guys.
It really is, and I tell you the one thing, it's very pronounced back to sixth, from 6th position back to 7th, isn't it? With Miura there, he's 1.3 seconds down on this. Well, I'm trying to think of a word to describe 5 drivers all battling for position. Normally you'd say a quartet for 4th, trio for 3, but I don't think there's anything for 5 drivers.
Quintet, I think.
Is it quintet? Is that correct? Perhaps it is.
Maybe it's a gaggle, I don't know.
Well, maybe it's going to be. Look at this move there being made by Dojo Racing Apex. He pulls alongside Legacy as he just got himself past Volti Tatsu as well. He's going to go down the inside 2 into 1. Buy one, get one free here for Dojo Racing Apex. He's still up the inside. He's still side by side with Legacy, and he gets the move done and dusted. Nicely done there for Dojo Racing. He's up into 3rd position, so from 5th onto the rostrum as things stand.
Yeah, the number 3 car now up into 3rd place. Nicely done as well. Nice and smooth on the brakes. He's actually got a Japanese plate on that car as well. Nice bit of authenticity there on the GR Supra.
Not that you'd be driving around the Tokyo Expressway in normal circumstances like this.
Oh no, definitely not. He might be on the wrong side of the road right now. I don't know. But there he is then. You can see it zoomed in on that plate, just in case the police want to go after him. Through the tunnel they go then. It's all about carrying the momentum through there because it's such a fast part of the circuit. And of course these cars, they do have a bit of body roll on them, so the weight transfer is not the best, but it's just all about making do with what you've got with these drivers as they go over the crest. You can see them sliding sideways. Poki Corgi there is just behind Volti Tatsu now.
He's going to go for a lunge here, isn't he? Down in towards turn 11. He's going to send it up the inside of Volti Tatsu. He does send it down the inside. He claims the apex, but Legacy also losing out here as well. So another buy one, get one free there move for Poki Corgi, but Volti Tatsu's going to try and slide alongside of Kuru Mania there. What's happened to Kuru Mania? Because he was doing very well in this race, and now he's just dropped down to 7th position.
Yeah, he's not pitted or anything. Oh yeah, it's just registered that he's pitted actually. So there we go. He must have jumped into the pits to obviously look after his tyres and get some new ones, as he said before. So with this additional pace he may have from that, we'll have to see whether he can regain the race lead, because guys that did that before in the other regions that we've seen, they dropped a bit further down. But just to go back to Poki Corgi, that move, it's a bit appropriate. He's got a FedEx logo on the side of that car.
Yeah, he sent it and delivered it, didn't he?
He did.
Absolutely, signed, sealed and delivered there for him. Here is Miura as he's in the slipstream now of Poki Corgi, and he's going to try and think about a bit of a move here as they go down the straight in towards turn number 1. Very close these two run, nose to tail at the moment. Just to mention, by the way, Kuru Mania, before he made that pit stop, he was 7.7 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Now, he's got less than 2 laps to try and do something to catch up with the rest of the field. The sad thing is here, he's in a lot of traffic to the guys behind. I think we should just stick an onboard camera on Kuru Mania's car and see what his ascension through the rest of the field is going to look like. The good news is for him here, there's not too much in terms of a pronounced gap. You can just see Kuru Mania there in the background in the multicoloured liveried GR Supra machine. So he doesn't have too much of time to make up as things stand.
Yeah, he's got Miura just in front of him there. You can see the race leader from where he is, so he's got to at least give it everything on these last 2 laps. You've got to think about tyres though as well, because while they will be new, there are still obviously the implications of tyre life involved. He gets a good run off turn 6. He's going to get the slipstream as well from these guys, and because there's not too much of a gap between all of them, you can see there it's half a second, 3 tenths, 9, another half a second. So he's always going to be in slipstream range on these straights, and look how much he's gained there on Miura. He's going to try and go to the outside. Car's a little bit sideways. Look at the run as they go through the left-hander. Of course, he's now on the inside and he's already got the move done, and he's going to be looking at trying to make a, well, I don't think it'll be a lunge on Poki Corgi,
but he hits the wall,
yeah.
So that could be at the door opening there for Kuru Mania. Meanwhile, look at this as Dojo Racing defends against Legacy 0193. Legacy also defending. Look at Kuru Mania sending it down the inside. Is he going to make that move stick against Poki Corgi? I don't quite think he managed to make it do so, and as they come out of the corner, he did manage to get that move done there. So Kuru Mania, this is an inspired drive. He's right with the lead pack now. He's closing up significantly, and he could be on for this podium battle, if not the race victory, with just over 6.5 kilometres remaining of this circuit.
He's doing a cracking job of it so far. Into the top 5 once again then. He's going to have his sights set on these boys. We've got Kawakana leading the way then. Dojo Racing Apex, as you said, just defending from Legacy a couple of corners ago. But as Kuru Mania keeps it clean here, as we see Poki Corgi really, he's quite friendly with the walls in in this race. Maybe he wants to get rid of the FedEx branding off the side of it after sending it earlier. But we're on board with Kuru Mania now. Look at the run. The slipstream is just so pronounced. He's got a fantastic run out of there into turn 1. They all test the commitment. Don't clip the wall on the inside. Keep it away from the wall on the outside. Might have got a slight touch on there. But he's, of course, now, Tom, he's got a slipstream with 4 cars in front of him, so that's a big old hole in the air, and he's going to go for it.
The sad thing is, Volti Tatsu is going to try and defend that line. Is he going to try and send it up the inside? Yes, he is. Now, where is he going to be positioned going in towards turn 2? He's going past Legacy here as well. So back onto the podium in the space of 2 laps here for Kuru Mania, as Dojo tries to challenge for the race lead against Kawakana. In through the right-hander they go, side by side almost, and Kawakana makes a bit of an error. Is that going to allow an opportunity for Dojo racing up the inside? Yes, it is. Kawakana will have the inside line. Here comes Kuru Mania into the drama as well, and he gets into second position now as he pulls alongside the Dojo racing car, and now it is 3 wide down this straight almost. Kuru Mania into the race lead ahead of Kawakana. This is an absolutely inspired drive from the Japanese man. What an absolutely brilliant performance. I think it's so hard to underemphasize, or overemphasize I should say, how brilliant this is, considering he made a pit stop and he's now back in the race lead on the final lap.
And he's done it round the outside of turn 6, 3 wide as well. What an incredible move to take the lead with. And now, of course, with newer tyres than the guys behind, he's surely just going to run away with it. Kawakana, we can see there, trying everything. Sparks flicked up off the wall just because he's giving it everything he's got, trying to use every inch of the circuit. But like you say, what an incredible drive by Kuru Mania as Dojo Racing Apex tries it again on Kawakana to get down the inside. Doesn't quite get there. They've got a great scrap going on behind them as well. Legacy, Miura and Volti Tatsu involved. And then they've got Poki Corgi in the FedEx branded car just behind them. Looks like Kawakana's going to need to do some defending here though as they go into the final section of the lap. But wow, Kuru Mania is definitely the talking point of this one. He has absolutely smashed this so far. Dojo Racing, Apex and Kawakana side by side. Dojo Racing was on the outside, now he's on the inside, and he's going to be on the outside again. Not quite, yeah, well, he's obviously got the move done, but he's got to just defend it into the final corner then.
Absolutely brilliant stuff there. Kuru Mania, meanwhile, comes over the line to take an inspired victory here in the Asia region for the Toyota GR Supra GT Cup. Second place goes the way of Dojo Racing, and look at 4th to the line there with Volti Tatsu just finishing 0.05 of a second ahead of Miura. Poki Corgi in 6th position. Wow, that is the closest finish we have seen so far in the Toyota GR Supra GT Cup as well. Brilliant racing as the rest of the field come over the timing line to complete the 5-lap race here at the Tokyo Expressway. Battle for 18th place as well, with Mandy just finishing ahead there of 910, who also did make a pit stop, and Zach Lucci as well sliding his way through the final corner, and he will finish 20th and in last position in this race. That was brilliant though.
That was amazing to watch. Kuru Mania though, wow. What a drive, and obviously best lap of the race as well. Look at that, some 3 seconds quicker than the best laps of the other guys. That's just incredible.
I've never seen pace like that.
No.
That is absolutely amazing, wasn't it? So Kuru Mania does take victory here at the Tokyo Expressway South in a loop. Dojo Racing in 2nd, Kawakana on the podium in 3rd, Volti Tatsu, Miura, Poki Corgi, Poki Corgi rather, I should say, then Legacy, who finished actually quite far down the order, just inside the fringes of the top 10. On the fringes of the top 10, Toshiro and Hanoka there. Then you see the Malaysian of Mio Hafish in 11th, Lotus Racing in 12th, Mio Fran in 13th, HQB, the Chinese driver who we sadly did not see the best potential from him down there in 14th, ahead of Strutter and Tatan, or whatever his pronunciation of his name is. That's very interesting to do, isn't it? Daryl in there in 17th, Mandy in 18th, 910 in 19th, and then Zach Lucci, who we saw sliding around the final corner, finished a lap down there in 20th position.
It's a shame you don't get style points for that, otherwise Zach Lucci would have had plenty of them. Here are your points then after that race, and of course a bit of a switch around a bit further down the order. The top 10 really staying as they are. Legacy just moving up into there then. W4 MTCA goes up into 12th place, obviously pushing the rest of the drivers down. Still tied with Samurai 405 on 4,100 points, but wow, Kazuno Kota still top of the standings there though, Tom.
Very impressive stuff indeed. Great racing up and down the field here in the GR GT Supra Cup in the Asia region. What about the next round then? Well, it is coming up very shortly for you. The 7th of September is when we will have the last round of the GR Supra GT Cup. It is going to be absolutely unmissable.